the dancing vegan.
Wouldn't that be fun? Okay, so let's start at the beginning. So it calls for a can of chickpeas or garbanzo beans, and Kelly Nielsen just uses chickpeas in hers, and I didn't have enough chickpeas once, and I thought, well, I've got these small white beans, and I'm gonna add those to it, and I actually liked it better with half and half. So that's the way I do it.
Is it because the white beans get a little squishier, like
They can get squishier.
so then it kind of makes more
Uh-huh.
together?
I sometimes have a little bit of an issue with the flavor of chickpeas too. Sometimes it's just strong for me for whatever
My
reason.
daughter loves chickpeas. She can eat them in everything.
Yeah?
I can eat them out of the can.
Yeah?
My sister says, I don't love them.
I think part of it for me was a texture thing, and part of it was just a flavor thing. So
Yeah, maybe it was.
probably could use whatever beans you want in this.
Right, okay.
Are you talking about a great northern bean, like the other white bean you were talking about?
So it's one that I have I buy in a bag and cook myself in my pressure cooker. And at Macy's, they're called small white beans. They're my favorite. And I don't know if you guys want to try them. Partly because a lot of these beans have such the skin has a lot of texture to it, and these don't. So I don't know if you want to look at it or taste it, but it has very little taste. They kind of fall apart if you put it into a recipe, and they don't have the skin issue. So that's why they're my favorite.
They'd be a good filler for all sorts of stuff.
All sorts of things, yeah. So I was going to do this one can at a time, and then I got distracted. So
Is that your like portable food processor?
yes, I actually really like this little food processor. You don't want them mush, you just want them broken up a little bit. Okay. So there's not like whole ones anymore, but yeah. Hi. For what? I'm glad you're here.
As much as I can be. The home is beautiful. The white beans you're going to add.
Yes, so I'm doing one recipe in each bowl.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Okay. Can I start helping to chop some?
Yeah. So there's apples to chop, there's celery to chop, there's green onions to chop, and there's grapes, thank you, to wash and take them off the stem and cut them in half. If anyone wants to help with any of those, that would be fabulous.
I'll do whatever you like me to.
Careful, like a little water snake.
Oh, I'm like, something.
Forgot.
Let's start it again. Don't know what that was.
So did you soak these and put them in your your Instant Pot?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you need a knife? Oh, you got it.
So I'm just doing a cup and a half of each into each for each recipe.
So you are doing one
Which is
can
about
of
a can.
chickpeas, one can of white beans in each.
Yes.
So, do you want them like just like that big?
Yeah. Okay.
I want to make this recipe when I go to Friday.
Yeah.
I really do. This looks so good.
So the one reason to do the mayo instead of the cashews.
What do you like them for?
I brought a knife. Is that the cashew sauce will start to turn brown
Even with the
With-
lemon juice.
over a few times.
But not with mayo.
No,
Oh, sorry.
with the cashews instead of the mayo.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
So if you do the cashew sauce, it's a little sweeter,
Uh-huh.
but it kind of turns brown over time. So the
Like a
mayo
couple
one,
of days.
yeah. It's good for a few days, but then it'll start to turn brown over.
For your sauce for the broccoli salad,
What?
I froze it. I made a bunch and froze it.
Really?
I'm like, I'm making this like every other day. I froze it and then brought it out and it was ready to, it worked great.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great.
And because we had like a big pot come up and we had like 35 people staying with us and I'm like, I'm not gonna be making broccoli salad right when everyone's
Right.
here. And so I just made doubles of the sauce and it worked so good. It was very good.
Just do half an each.
You are so good at chopping stuff. I saw your apples too.
My knife skills.
That's crazy.
I took that class, that Forks Over Knives, and you learned how to chop, and I'm like, this is kind of fun
I
now
didn't
that I know
know
how
you
to
did
Was
learn
that
how
chop.
the
to
one
chop.
online that you
I know,
just,
I didn't
like,
think either.
Find one that
Yeah, it was
I took
online.
that
I
whole
had surgery,
area.
and I ended up not being able to do it, so, yeah. And then COVID, and then I could do it, and so I could do it now if I want, but I'm like, this is more fun just coming to the cooking classes than all these different
And
The cashews
so,
first.
especially tofu because it's so concentrated. So I don't know what it would do because I've never eaten it.
Oh my.
Half a cup of water,
They
right?
get bigger and they get whiter.
And you
So
did,
like
did you
that
know
when
before
you're so
that you
cold.
had
Yeah.
reaction? No.
And they-
That's so crazy.
I think there's just a small amount in everything.
They're
Oh, my baby. That's my baby.
Okay. Good point. Yeah.
She'll be 2 in a month.
Poultry seasoning.
Oh,
Is she the child you used to bring in the straws?
Actually, usually
It's awesome.
So poultry seasoning is actually when you can, like, it's poultry seasoning.
it's just seasoning. It's not. It doesn't have anything to do with animal products other than they
Interesting.
use it to season.
What's in it?
Sage and I don't know what else.
It's supposed to complement.
Yeah, it's
The
just
poultry,
a
I guess?
a combination of like 3 or 4 seasonings,
Yeah.
and they call it. Because I thought it was animal based too, but it's
What's
not.
It's not.
That's hilarious.
So this one's slightly easier to do with this recipe because you just blend it all together in the blender and then pour it on. The other one, you have to mix up the mayo and then measure out half a cup of it and then add the other seasonings that are just for this recipe. So
So you pour the whole juice in and everything.
yeah, with the extra firm tofu, you're dumping off all the juice in the container. But with this one, you're just putting it all in because you're wanting it to be saucy. Okay, so you have the tofu, and then we've got a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. And a tablespoon of
Lemon juice.
Okay. This is going to be our vegan mayo. Since there aren't big chunks, we're trying to cook fry and get smooth in there. Okay, so I'm going to pour. So this is going to use half a cup, and then the rest of it I'm going to pour into my little container here.
Well, that's a nice consistency.
Yeah.
And you said this mayo recipe doesn't brown as much, or it does brown?
It doesn't brown as much as the cashews do. Okay, so we're going to put this back in here and add those other ingredients. Did that make sense? I tried to explain that in a way that's
That makes sense.
clear on here, on the recipe.
So what are you doing? I thought you just made the vegan mayo,
Yes.
and now you're making something else.
So the sauce calls for vegan mayo, but then it adds those other things. So since it's since you're not having to blend it, you could just add them all in, or you can blend it together.
So you're starting with a half a cup of vegan mayo to continue the
Just-
sauce.
Okay,
Yes.
to start this new recipe.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Don't do that again.
Do you think this mayo could be frozen in like half a cup portion?
I think it could, yeah. Tablespoon of maple syrup and
2 tablespoons white wine vinegar.
so the mayo and the sauce have a lot of the same things in it, just more.
Uses cashews and one uses
And if you are interested, you can try this mayo if you're not allergic to it, and just taste what it tastes like, because you might want to use it for other things too.
So what is the vegan mayo that you buy? Is it oil?
There's all different kinds.
Can you get some that don't have the oil?
I haven't found one that doesn't have lots of oil. So either buy it or like that's one of those items where I compromise and I buy just like Kraft Light, the light mayo that has 3 grams of fat, because my husband loves mayonnaise, and I feel like that's a better compromise than buying the vegan mayonnaise with 13 to 16 grams of fat when I can buy this for 3 grams of fat, you know? So even though it has some egg or oil, it doesn't have egg and dairy, it doesn't have, I feel like that's a better
Because
choice.
I struggle with mayo.
Yeah, like I feel like that's a better choice than
Okay.
the vegan
There's
mayo.
a vegan maize brand
Vegan
that
maize,
uses
yeah.
grapeseed
There's like
oil.
Sir Kensington or something, that's vegan.
Okay.
There's like 3 or 4 different brands. Do you use mayo in recipes?
Actually, I don't.
They're both
like
walnut.
mayo, so I don't ever put it on.
That one's the walnut.
Sandwiches.
No,
Or,
that's the walnut.
That's the walnut.
I'm trying to figure out what the nut.
I've made this a lot, but mostly using vegan eggs or something. So I recently found this mayo recipe, but I haven't used it in this specifically. So you guys are my test group a little bit to see how this works. There are several times I've made it that I'm like, but I want the sweetness of the cashew without the, but I want kind of both. So I kind of did a half and half.
and did you like it?
I did, yep. I've done that several times, but it kind of depends on what you're going for. And I am not sure why I use a whole cup of cashews for the sauce on that one and only half a cup of mayo in this one. So that's the other way. You guys are the test group, but I'm like, we're gonna see how that actually works and see if you should be using more mayo than that. I really like this on a pita bread,
Well, I can do it
but
too.
it also works in a
Nice.
romaine lettuce wrap. So you can do either way. And this one tastes like it has way too much poultry seasoning. I don't know why. I think I used less in this one. Maybe it was overpowering with how much sauce it was. I'm gonna have to add more mayo to that.
You're so cute.
It needs more. Maybe it should have said 1 cup.
Everything else you did the same as the other sauce.
Mhm.
That would make sense.
That's what I was thinking. When I was typing it up, I was like, this doesn't make sense. But that's how the original recipe was written, and so I was trying to figure out how to.
She just made a change on the recipe, and I'll forget. We were planning on doing this weekend.
Anybody want to try this?
I do.
I don't feel like it's a giant spike,
Yeah.
but
So you do.
No, but it's
So this is what this one looks like.
it's
a little
pretty
creamier.
substantial though.
So again,
So
this is the
Tofu mayo,
the variant,
cashew
or is
cream.
it like